It's time for Good Game Spawn Point.
What's your favourite Pokemon, you guys?
Dratini.
I always like Diglett.
Well, coming up on the show, we catch them in all shapes and sizes in our review of the free-to-play Pokémon Quest.
Plus, we review the totally bananas Donkey Kong Adventure DLC for Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Also, I have a play of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker on the Switch to see if it's still rich with puzzle goodness.
You know, I think my fave Pokemon is always evolving.
Oh, you can't pick or choose?
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Last year's mashup of Mario and those mischievous Rabbids proved to be an undeniable hit, bringing strategic combat to the Mushroom Kingdom in the strangest of ways.
Well, Jem, now it's time to go Troppo in the tropics as those loopy leopardies, as Latin for bunnies, team up with the awesome ape himself in this latest expansion, the Donkey Kong Adventure.
This additional chapter in the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle saga kicks off after Rabbid Kong has some trouble programming the teleportation washing machine, when suddenly a zap of energy from the onlooking Spawny sends him, some Rabbids, Beepo, and of course Rabbid Peach far off to the DK dimension.
It's not the most creative excuse for another crossover. In fact, I'd go so far as to call it a bit of a Deus Ex washing machina. It's more Latin. Your parents will get it. After arriving on the sunny shores, they're greeted by some less than friendly locals before the King of Kong swings in to save the day. Also, Cranky Kong is now a rabbit, and it's hilarious.
Together, the three must team up and battle their way through a sizable amount of stages to take on the now souped-up Rabbid Kong, who is bulked up thanks to some bad-looking blue bananas. And while this does mean no option to change up your team, like in the standard story, getting to unleash the power of 2 new characters with new weapons and abilities totally makes up for it.
Yeah, and DK sure packs a punch, doesn't he? Along with his boomerang banana that can target multiple foes, Donkey Kong can unleash a devastating ground pound, draw enemies closer with a jazzy bongo solo, and possibly his biggest game changer, the ability to pick up and throw almost anything within his grasp. I'm talking enemies, allies, even chunks of the environment. Plus, the big guy has tons of health. I mean, he almost feels a bit too overpowered, actually.
I thought the same thing at first, especially when compared to Cranky's more standard moveset. But once you get into the battles themselves, you see they've all been designed with these additional abilities in mind, specifically the new enemy types and missions. For example, throwing enemies further away from the objective, or putting a group to sleep with Cranky's yawning area of effect becomes essential for passing a stage, let alone earning enough bananas and totems to purchase upgrades. And keep in mind, this expansion assumes you already know the basics, so don't expect to leisurely stroll through the jungle.
The new mission types really put a spin on that standard gameplay. There are, of course, your regular defeat all enemies and reach the goal missions, but new here are Banana Horde hunt downs, where you'll be destroying batches of bad bananas, as well as fetch quests that require you to chase pesky collectors who snatch up parts of the destroyed washing machine. And they run so far!
Oh, those guys are the worst! Running around the entire battlefield, even picking up pieces you haven't grabbed yet, so annoying! Fortunately, DK can also swing from designated pads placed around the map, giving you a much-needed movement boost. It's another ability that makes DK feel almost unstoppable, but then the game throws enough tough enemies and bosses at you to keep you on your opposable toes.
Yeah, those boss battles are great fun. I love the design of those shark skin wearing brutish bunnies. I will say, I was a bit disappointed not to see the whole DK universe on show here. I mean, where are classic characters like the Kremlings, Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, Kiddy Kong?
What about Funky Kong?
No, not him, Darren.
That's uncool.
Despite the missing family members, I still think there's a substantial amount of content for this expansion. Along with the battles, there are multiple puzzle sections dotted around the map, which serve as nice distractions. My favourite were the gold barrel challenges that are particularly well designed and look and sound great.
There's almost enough here for a full sequel, and I guess that's my main gripe with this game. I feel like there's so much potential left unexplored in this new jungle setting.
Well, you know what they say, Goose? Always leave them wanting more. For me, this is the perfect size mini-adventure before maybe we see a proper sequel? Both of the new characters felt distinctly different to play with, And by focusing on a specific team makeup, it allows for some really focused battles with interesting mechanics. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Jem, I'd almost forgotten how much fun this kind of strategic combat is. I was worried that lack of team customization might make this adventure feel a bit too directed, but there's enough variation in the mission types to keep this whole thing swinging along till the end. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 rubber chickens. How good is Cranky Kong, though? So good. Ah, so cranky.
This feels strange. Is there something in my... What is that? Huh. Looks like Rad's trying to turn the scoop jacket into a snacket. Wish I'd thought of that. Oh, it's time for the scoop. First up, a Splatoon 2 leaderboard hacker has been banned from online play indefinitely. The player hacked the leaderboard with the message, "Please add anti-cheat," in order to raise awareness of the game's issues with cheating. Certain dubious players have apparently been using unlimited ink meters, overpowered weapons, and invisibility, which are only possible through hacks. But will this statement lead to Nintendo taking action on cheating, or will this message fall splat? Next up, 14-year-old Aussie Alfredo Chen Gonzalez is the Pokémon North American International Champion for a second year running. Alfredo was able to defeat about 100 competitors in his age bracket, making good use of his Incineroar and Tapu Koko in the finals against American Enzo Recchi. Go Alfredo! Moving on, and No Man's Sky received a massive free update this week. The update includes third-person perspective, improved visuals, character customization, and multiplayer. It will also be coming to Xbox One. All this might just bring the game closer to what many fans expected upon initial release. Maybe even 18 quintillion times better. And finally, Leaping Lab Rats! A fan-made sequel to Day of the Tentacle has emerged. The much-loved 1993 point-and-click adventure game, Day of the Tentacle, is considered to be a cult classic. Return of the Tentacle is the name of the unofficial next chapter, made by some clever fans, which remains faithful to the art style, characters, music, and the quirky humour of its predecessor. Plus, it's free. And now it's time for the extra scoop. This week, we check in on some cool creations using Nintendo Labo from a recent creators contest. Like this Zelda piano, solar-powered accordion, or teapot. Not for actual tea though, no one likes soggy cardboard or soggy tech. And if you've come across something extra scoop worthy, let us know here. What is that? Something else in here. It's all crunchy and... Popcorn! Yes! Oh, this is so good. Can we make snackets a regular thing? Yeah? Because this is great.
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is a puzzle game that was originally released in 2015 for the Wii U. At the time, both Barjo and Hex scored at 4 out of 5 rubber chickens. Now it's just been re-released for the Switch and 3DS with a new lick of paint and some brand new levels. I've been having a ton of fun experiencing it for the first time, so I'm going to show you one of these new levels set in New Donk City. Let's go track some treasure! So I'm here in New Donk City, and you'll notice I have a cool pointer on my screen. That's because I'm not playing in handheld mode, so I don't have the touch screen. Instead, I've got my controller to use as my virtual finger, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna go into this pipe here and launch myself into the city. Here we go, and it's already action-packed. So he's gonna try and throw things at me, but I think there's some hidden coins over here. Love to collect some coins. And the cool thing about this puzzle game is that you can rotate the world so that you can get different perspectives and see where you're going. For example, I go into this building and I can't see myself anymore. I can swing it around and, oh, there he is at the back. You also can't jump in this game, so everything has to be done by carefully falling in the right spot, like I just did there on that beam, or getting things to join up so that you can walk across them. So normally in the main game you would be looking for a power star to enter the level, but because this is based on Super Mario Odyssey, we actually have a little moon over here from that game to get. So I have to figure out how to get into this area that I can't just jump over the wall, and it's probably going to involve walking up some of these beams. Oh, hello! So you can also collect these gems, which is kind of like an extra objective in each level. There's 3 of them in each level, and there's also a hidden objective sometimes. But you don't find out what that is till you've completed the level at least once. So whilst it's not really a platformer, it's definitely more of a puzzler. There's still some kind of action elements to it. You've still got to use a bit of careful timing. Actually, I'm gonna go that way. So you can see that there's a gap between that beam and where I'm standing on this, so I actually can't go there. So I reckon if I run across here fast enough, yeah, cool. So I use that beam as a ramp and up I go. And let's rotate around to get this angle right. Come through here. And I wonder if this beam's gonna tilt as well. Yeah, it will. So you do have limited lives. As you can see up in the top, I have 1 left. You can sometimes collect more lives in the map. Sometimes they'll be hidden, but there's not a lot of penalty if you actually do lose all your lives. You just start again. So I'm back on the beam where I fell last time, and you can also use this cool zoom feature to get in a little bit closer because Toad is a pretty little guy. And so it helps to just be able to see what you're doing a little better. And now, this is where the puzzling comes in. So I can see that there's coins over there, but I don't know how to get there. And remember, you can't jump. So I need to extend a platform or bring up a platform to be able to reach those coins. I also see a pipe up there, and those pipes bring you to new areas. This is a touch object. And I'm gonna touch it, and it's a manhole, and I'm gonna go down it. Hey! Oh, this is cool. It's a whole new basement level. So you have to run away from the piranha plants. There's a lot of timing in the game to make sure that you can get past all the obstacles. And I'm not sure I'm going fast enough, but I'm gonna try. Here we go. All right. I'm hoping there's a turnip in here as well, from these little plants that I can pull that give me goodies, but nothing but coins. I really want that gem as well, but I don't know how I'm gonna get over there. This level's tricky. Maybe I can spin those platforms. So I pull this lever and things around here have changed. Okay, now everything's in motion, which is great news for me because I need to get up on those platforms. So I can also use my touch finger to boop these guys so that they don't bug me. So the game's obviously very cute and it looks fairly simple, but there's some really tricky puzzles to try and figure out from time to time, especially if you want to get everything. I have been having a really great time trying to get all the objectives, but there's some really tricky ones that I'm completely stuck on. So it seems like they've upped the difficulty for the new levels because this one is quite hard. Okay, so everything's moving now. This makes it interesting. I'm gonna jump over here. And I could finish the level right here. So I don't need to get every single objective and walk straight up and get the moon. And that would be level done. But if you want to go back and you want to find those special things, for example, there was a golden mushroom up the top that I have no idea how to reach yet, you can definitely do that. And we see now that I've completed the level once, there's an option for an extra objective, which is defeated all the enemies. So you can jump back in and try and get that. And if you do, you get a little crown stamp on the page for the level. Well, that's Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. It's a really cool little game. Some of the puzzles are really difficult, but it's still accessible because most of the time you can at least finish the level, if not get every objective. I love puzzle games and I'm really enjoying this. I like how it has quite a lot of challenge under the surface, but it's still accessible for kids. And I think that Nintendo are definitely at their best when they find that balance. There's a lot here to see and do. It's really creative puzzle design. And I just noticed this crazy looking chicken, so I'm gonna see what's up with that. Ah! Ah! All right, Goose, are you ready to rumble? And by rumble, of course, I mean answer some spawning questions.
Well, yes, Rad. Yes, I am. And let's kick this off with a video from Abby, Lily, and Theodore.
Hi, GGSP. I'm Abby.
I'm Lily.
I'm Theodore.
And these are our kittens, Winston
And Tracer.
and we have some questions to ask.
1. Why is Goose called Goose?
2. Are there any other games like Stardew Valley coming out? And is there a Stardew Valley 2 coming out?
3. Can Darren sing a cat song?
Thanks for answering our questions, GGSP. Bye!
Bye.
Aww.
Thanks, Abby, Lily and Theodore, and Lil Winston and Little Tracer too. Your GGSP pins will be on their way to you soon. But to answer your first question of why Goose is called Goose, well, what say you, Goose? Is it because you two are a waterfowl who inhabits grasslands near lakes and ponds? Or is it due to your elegant long neck, perhaps?
Not quite, Rad, but thank you. I do take pride in my neck. Gather round, spawnlings, and I'll tell ye a tale.
But Goose, we don't have time for a flashback. Could you give us an abridged version?
Oh, right. Well, one of my favourite games to play with friends as a kid was Top Gun on the NES. So much so that we all decided to adopt Top Gun nicknames. One of my friends was Maverick, one was Iceman, leaving me to claim Goose, which does sound similar to my own name anyway. And it sort of stuck because...
Because you're a bit of a goose?
Well, like Goose, you could say... I mean, I guess you could say that.
All right, well, moving on to the question of whether there are any games like Stardew Valley coming up. Well, Chucklefish, who is the publisher of Stardew Valley, is working on a game called Witchbrook, described as a kind of blend of Harry Potter and Stardew Valley. No word of an official release date yet, but it sounds like fun.
Oh, one that I would recommend is Moonlighter, which came out recently. And there's a farming and creature collection game called Ooblets, due out sometime this year, which looks pretty cute. Plus, I heard the developer of Stardew Valley, Concerned Ape, is working on a secret new game, and more.
And more? Does that mean that Stardew Valley 2 is on the cards?
Well, at the end of last year, Concerned Ape said he hadn't yet made plans for a sequel, but wouldn't rule it out. So it's hard to say what the and more might mean yet.
Nah, so mysterious. As for whether Darren can sing a cat song, well, he's been known to be a little bit musical, so let's see what he says.
Hello, Darren here.
Hi, Darren. Our questioners are wondering if you'd care to sing us a cat song.
Why, affirmative. I know just the song. Let me do a little bit of a warm-up. Me, 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 me. What's noob pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's noob pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, Darren, your singing voice is so...
Angelic?
Sure, that's a word. That's probably enough for now. Thank you, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye,
Whoa,
Darren.
whoa.
Did he say what's new pussycat?
I think he's always got noobs on the brain.
Yeah.
Moving on to another question, and this one is from Graham in Sydney. Hello, Good Game Spawn Point Planet. How do I unlock Luigi in Mario Odyssey? I see him with balloons, but he won't let me play him. How I get to be him? Help. Please. P.S. Darren is a noob.
Thanks, Graham. If you're wondering how to unlock Luigi in Super Mario Odyssey as a playable character, well, as far as I know, this is not currently possible. Luigi's Balloon World mode is an extra online mode that lets you play hide-and-seek style games using balloons. Once you finish the main story, Luigi shows up with some balloons, and if you talk to him, you can play the mode as Mario.
But you could always try wearing the Luigi costume, so Mario can cosplay as his bro.
Yes, cosplay away. Now I think we have time for one more, and it's from Avril. Hi GGSP, my name is Avril and I am 9 years old. I had one question about finding a game. Are there any adventure games for PCs that are made for Windows 7 like Slime Rancher? Thank you, and I think your show is super epic. Avril.
Thanks, Avril. Glad you think the show is super epic. As for adventure games similar to Slime Rancher that will run on Windows 7 PCs, you might like to try Yonder, the Cloudcatcher Chronicles. It's a beautiful open-world adventure game which also has a little bit of farming. It's not quite as slime-tastic as Slime Rancher, but not much is.
There's also the adorable A Hat in Time, which has more platforming elements. And you might enjoy the botanical bounding of Grow Home and its sequel, Grow Up.
Oh, well, would you look at the slime? I mean, time. We're all out of it. If you have a question you'd like to see us tangle with, go here and send it in.
Oh, and remember, all your video quizzes that make it on the show will receive a GGSP pin.
Hey, Goose, why do you suppose Darren likes singing so much?
I don't know. Maybe some of his old robot parts came from a jukebox. Maybe he's just got the music in him.
What's noob pussycat?
No more of that, please.
All right, Goose, get your Pokédex at the ready because we're going on a quest to catch them all.
Wait, all of them?
Yeah, we gotta.
Pokémon is an enormous franchise with numerous video games, TV shows, movies, comics, books, a card game, and it all dates back to 1996 with Pokémon Red and Blue.
Actually, Goose, it all started with Pocket Monsters Red and Green in Japan, with Red and Blue being released internationally later on. The first generation was released on Game Boy and was a role-playing game with a vast world and turn-based combat. Since then, there's been a new main series game every few years. Fast forward to 2018, and we're currently in the 7th generation of Pokémon, with over 122 different games released!
That's crazy! Well, I love the main Pokémon games, but Pokémon Quest is a free-to-play spin-off for Switch and mobile that has quite a different feel to the core games. For one, the art style is something we've not seen before from the Pocket Monsters. It's blocky and pastel with all the Pokémon appearing as bouncing square versions. It's pretty cute, and it's cool to see a new spin on a classic look.
Yeah, it is a curious change. I can't say straight away I loved this art style. There are so many mobile games with this look already, for example, Crossy Road, so to me it felt a little uninspired. Gameplay largely involves taking a group of 3 Pokémon on expeditions to fight wild Pokémon. Each expedition has a power level that indicates its difficulty, which you compare to the power level of your team.
There's a number of different areas to explore, each with different types of Pokémon to encounter and a big boss at the end. You also get a power level bonus depending on the Pokémon in your team and the area you're in.
Once you do jump in, it's time to fight some wild Pokémon. Your team will automatically search the map, and it's your job to activate special abilities when your Pokémon get in battles, to help turn the tide in your favour.
You can also set it to automatically use these abilities, but then it's pretty boring because you're not really doing anything. But even with manually triggering abilities, it can be a little frustrating because you can't aim where your Pokémon are facing. You just have to wait until it looks like your Pokémon is in the right direction and in range, but I found I often missed. Even so, I liked the pacing and I found it quite engaging.
It is all a bit random and haphazard for my liking. You can also try and dodge enemy attacks, and depending on how fast your enemy is, this has different levels of effectiveness. You basically just tell your Pokémon to scatter and hope the attack misses them.
I do agree that the combat didn't feel particularly tight, but I still found it had a decent degree of thought behind it. Having the right combination of fighters for the area and timing abilities well can mean the difference between success and failure. You can also outfit your fighter with various power stones. These give a boost to HP or attack, with a few giving special perks to your abilities.
There's also gold, silver, and bronze power stones, which have additional perks. I like to make sure I have at least one member of the party stacked up with the best HP stones, and that way they can soak up all the damage.
That's actually a really good tactic because then they can survive if the rest of the team are downed. If your Pokémon run out of health, they'll take a few seconds to recover, and if the whole team's out of health, it's expedition over. So having one still alive buys time for the rest to revive.
And this can help you beat some of the areas that would otherwise be too difficult. When you're not on expeditions, you can decorate your base for bonuses, and even cook meals to attract new Pokémon types, who each have their own favourite recipe. And Rad, I thought this was a really cool way to grow your collection.
It feels very homely, doesn't it? And as any good Pokémon trainer does, you can also train up your Pokémon. This uses supporting Pokémon to increase the XP or improve the moves of the one that you're training. The higher the supporting Pokémon's level, the more effective the training will be. However, after it's done, the supporting Pokémon will leave your team.
Aww. Well, training doesn't feel like the greatest trade-off because the gains are too small unless you're trading in your highest level fighters, which I want to keep to use.
Yeah, I'm the same. I keep them anyway because I gotta catch them all.
Now, being a free-to-play game, there are, of course, microtransactions, which can be a bit of a concern. Pokémon Quest lets you fork out dollars on a premium currency that allows you to recharge energy and keep playing so you don't have to wait the allocated amount of time. But I actually found there's heaps available before you need to. We should wrap this up. Final thoughts?
I had a lot of fun here, even with how imprecise the combat sometimes felt. There's always something to do and collect and improve, and I love the little pocket monsters. I'm giving Pokémon Quest 3.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
It is nice for short sessions on the bus, but being a free-to-play game, it does lack some of that depth. It's worth jumping in if you can't wait until Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee comes out, but I can't see myself playing much more of this, so I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
You know, I'm kind of interested to try out that Pokeball Plus controller when Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu come out.
I'm just looking forward to having a full Pokemon RPG again.
Well, next week on GGSP, we'll be taking to the fungal battlefield with Mushroom Wars 2, and we go exploring the high seas in Adventure Time Pirates of the Enchiridion.
Feels so hot.
Plus, I learned how to code a crafty controller to play Space Invaders.
Make sure you check out what we've been up to online, including our recent Mario Kart tournament with Kiki from Grace Beside Me. And check out Goose as he tries to jump Dusty Divot in Fortnite. Will he make it? Until next time, may all your games be good ones. Rat out, Jen out.
Goose out.